the informal sector, including vendors and transport operators, will from Monday next week be able to access smaller denominations of the new currency ZiG at HomeLink branches. The move is aimed at addressing public outcry over lack of small change, resulting in people losing value of their money. Currently, those boarding commuter omnibuses, for example, to town from their areas of residence or paying for fresh farm produce at markets are paying 10 ZiG, which is regarded as 50 US cents, which obviously then works out to the rate of 20-1. But actually, given the absence of small coins, but actually 10 ZiG is actually 70 US cents.
Now, in a statement dated the 4th of June 2024, RBZ Governor Dr. John Mushayavanu said they were committed to ensuring sufficient local currency circulation in the economy to support normal business transactions and economic activity. He said for the convenience of the transacting public, the bank got into an arrangement with HomeLink to widen access to ZiG cash, leveraging on its existing branch network as they seek to expand the economy-wide availability of small change in the following denominations: 1 ZiG, 2 ZiG, 5 ZiG, and 10 ZiG.
And to quote him directly, the bank appeals to all individuals, commuters, public transport operators, retailers, informal traders, and their associations, vendor associations, and other key stakeholders which interface with the transacting public to approach their nearest HomeLink branch and swipe for ZiG cash using their local currency debit or credit cards with effect from Monday, June 10, 2024. Mushayavanu said the exchange of foreign currency cash for ZiG cash can also be made at HomeLink branches at the ruling interbank exchange rates.
You know, what's interesting is that many economies are moving away from cash. Okay, like for example, if you're in the UK or you're in Singapore, Hong Kong, they have what they call an Oyster card. Okay, so what you do is that you juice up this Oyster card, whether you pay with your debit card or you can't even use cash for it. And all the buses and everywhere, there's like a machine where you just go beep and it deducts it, yeah? So you get on the bus, you go beep, you get on the train, you go beep, you get in a taxi, you go beep, and you can use the Oyster card to pay. Because really, people, frankly, I think having a lot of cash is just a pain, to be honest. I mean, you shouldn't have cash. We should be using, mobile platforms and so forth. But of course, our economy hasn't got to that point yet. So there obviously is a need for notes and coins, and it was a big problem because people were saying, well, look, there's no ZiG notes and coins. So how do we catch a commuter omnibus to work? Because we don't have any money to pay for it. And then, of course, the commuter omnibuses are then using their own rate of exchange, for example, when they then take your cash. So I think this is a good move. It really is. And I think we need to, at least promote it, I believe.
Andy, earlier on you mentioned just how the RBZ Deputy Governor said that 30% of the ZiG in circulation is what was pushed out to the market.
Yeah.
What about the other 17? What is central bank doing to push the rest into the market? Because it's been a subject of much speculation.
I must be honest. We heard this from William Manamanzi. He's the Deputy Director of Financial Markets of the Reserve Bank. And this is what he said. He said they've looked at the numbers and that of the ZiG cash they've given banks, he's saying that banks have only given out 30% of that. Okay? So the 70% apparently in cash is still sitting at banks. This is what the central bank says. Look, I can't verify the numbers because we don't have the numbers to see, but this is what the central bank says, and so let's believe them, okay? So the question, and even has the right question, why? What are they doing with that 70%? I mean, why would you hang on? Because I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense. It's because, remember, cash doesn't earn you anything as a bank. It's just a piece of paper in your vault. It doesn't earn you any interest. You don't make any money from it. Nothing, okay? So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to hold a lot of cash. In fact, you want to hold as little cash as possible. If you're a bank, you need to manage your cash reserves because obviously every note that you hold is losing you money. Because you may be paying interest to clients, but it's in cash. So I don't understand the logic behind why banks haven't dispersed the additional 70%. But whatever the reason is, if it is true, according to as the Reserve Bank says, it's also wrong, yeah? To a point.
Yeah,
They need to get the money
but-
out there.
but-
I mean, it's
but
as simple
look,
as that.
But what is the central bank doing to address that?
Well,
I
they
think
can't really do anything, can they? I mean, central banks can't force banks to issue cash. See my problem, man? You can give them the cash. It's like leading a horse to water. You can't then say drink. The horse has to decide to drink. So I think they can more sway them and say, guys, what's going on?
I've got to say I've got more questions than answers
I
because
agree.
this would be a first.
It doesn't make any sense. Does it? It doesn't make sense.
30% is actually a very small number of having the cash in
Can
circulation.
you imagine?
And
And 70% sitting in your vault. This is what they said. I mean, look, as I said, we can't verify. But
And to add to that, that's just M1,
Yes.
which is the notes and the coins out of M2 and M3, which is the entire money that would be in circulation in an economy.
Yep.
And M1 is predominantly the least when you look at the various monetary aggregates in Zimbabwe's economy. And when you look at it from that perspective, that the banks are not pushing out the money, I think central banks should do more. I don't know how.
No, I agree, and I think and I've said this many times, I'll openly say it. We support the ZIG fully. I think, as far as we're concerned, and we're business at ZTN, the three of us here, we support the ZIG fully, and we want it to work. It must work from our perspective, but the messaging was bad. I mean, if you think it through, right? I mean, you get my point, yeah? Because
Andy has been blunt on that.
yeah, I've been blunt for days. I've been blunt, yeah, because you can't be issuing on the 5th of April, and only now we start talking about going to get cash at home like in June. You see my point, yeah?
The rollout wasn't very perfect.
Yeah.
Even when they introduced it, and then they said they wanted then to carry out education and awareness after they had already introduced it.
But it just shows you how a good communication strategy and messaging strategy is important. But anyway, the fact is this, let's just ignore that for the moment. Let's just say categorically that the ZIG is our currency. We support the ZIG fully. We hope that and it has stabilized prices, yeah? It has. Inflation has started to come down. In fact, some people are calling it deflation. Deflation come down, prices are stable, and this is what we want, guys. At the end of the day, all these things that people throw at you about gold backed and all that, and how much money's in circulation, and we're talking 30%, yada yada yada. The fact is simple: we want stable prices and a stable currency. That's what we want as citizens. Yeah?
Store value
that's what
is
we
important.
Want. All the rest of it is just economic stuff that we here on Business Desk will throw at you. But at the end of the day, that's our bottom line: stability in our economy. And I think the ZIG may just be the thing that does that.
Konapo, ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.